as fast as possible. Why would you want to do that? What am I talking about? Find out in this episode. Tune in and take notes.
Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where we hear and learn from our coaches, CrossFitters, and Glen Ed community leaders. Now, here are your hosts, Dallas and Greg.
So welcome to another episode of the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast. I'm your host, Coach G, one of the coaching team here at CrossFit Edwardsville. And in this episode of the podcast, we're going to reveal 7 ways you can fast track and speed run gaining body fat as fast as possible. Why would you do that? Why would you think about that? Why would you think in those terms? Well, there's the very famous investor, Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's partner, believes in inversion thinking, meaning that if you want a certain outcome, one of the ways you can achieve it is by listing all the things that you would do to destroy your chances of achieving that outcome, and then do the opposite. So in this episode, we're going to outline 7 very, very effective ways to completely stack as much unnecessary, unattractive, makes you feel like hell body fat onto your frame as possible. So with no further ado, let's get into it. Number 1, eat with no specific plan at all, i.e. eat whatever. This, by the way, is one of the 3 key hallmarks of the standard American diet. So whatever you feel like eating in this moment, eat that. If it's the processed carbohydrates, if it's all carbohydrates, if it's the breads, the cereals, the rices, the pastas, load up on those. Eat whatever comes along. Leave it to chance. What are you going to be having for lunch today? Arrive to work and see what shows up in the break room, or go to work and ask your colleagues, where do they want to eat for lunch, and then go wherever they go. Completely wing it. Don't track anything. Just eat whatever comes along or whatever you feel like eating in the moment. Leave it to the last minute, i.e. after work, when you're tired, you're exhausted, take your kids to their sporting events. And after all that is said and done, when all of you are exhausted and you have very little time, go whatever fast food restaurant strikes your fancy or whatever is closest to you. Eat whatever with no specific plan. This is step number 1 in gaining as much body fat as possible. Let's go to step number 2. A corollary to the first, eat with no specific plan, eat whenever. As mentioned before, leave it to chance. No specific plan. Maybe you get up a little bit late, so maybe you have breakfast, maybe you don't. Maybe you bring lunch to work, maybe you don't. And if it happens that you, by a small miracle, get some time to stop work around lunchtime, go and eat whatever you like in that time. Or wait until dinner when you're ravenously hungry. Wait until after your kid's meal. Wait until late at night after the sporting events are done. You haven't eaten all day. Now you're just going to eat whatever super late at night right before bed. Eat whenever. Again, with no specific plan. Key concept number 2 in gaining as much body fat as possible. Number 3, eat with no specific plan and eat as much as you feel like eating. Eat until you are fully full. Wait till the next time you're hungry and then do it all over again. Again, this is another one of the key hallmarks of the standard American diet, is to arrive to a meal and eat until you're full. Asterisk, no tracking, no accounting for the amounts of anything. The way this typically plays out is you'll eat a whole lot of refined carbohydrates, very little protein, and you'll have this weird phobia of dietary fat, like it's your enemy and it's creating body fat. So you'll have a weird phobia of avoiding that, but you'll still find it very curious that week after week, month after month, year after year, you seem to be only gaining body fat despite this weird phobia. And important thing to note is when you're eating the standard American diet and kind of eating whenever, eating all of these processed, refined, sugary, invented in a factory, infinite shelf life, lives in a box forever foods, when you're eating those foods, you will eat a lot of them before you feel full because low in nutrients and so low in anything valuable to your body that your body's going to keep crying out to you, give me more, give me more. I haven't received the vitamins, the minerals, the nutrients that I need in order to fuel all these things you want me to do. Physically, cognitively, I haven't gotten what I need yet. Give me more, give me more. Especially true with sugar. So what happens then is you eat a ton of calories and get very little nutrient from that, which means that you get hungry again very shortly thereafter. And you eat a ton, you're eating up until you feel full, and your body is still completely and totally malnourished. This is your third key step in getting as much body fat as possible. Let's go to number 4. Minimize physical activity. Convince yourself you are just too tired to even exercise for 10 minutes in your basement. You are just too busy to go to the gym. Park your car as close to the stores as possible. Park your car as close to work as possible so you don't have to walk very far to get into the building. Avoid the stairs. Take every opportunity to maximize convenience. Use every modern comfort to avoid doing any extraneous, unnecessary physical activity. Convince yourself that you can't be out there on the playing field or in the yard playing that sport that your kids are playing with them. Surely you just must be too exhausted to do that, possibly because of the standard American diet that completely ruins your energy levels. But by all means, minimize your physical activity. Key step number 4 to gaining as much body fat as possible. Step number 5, related to the first, leave exercise for last. Be sure to get up late in the morning so all you have time to do is speed run, getting your kids ready for school, getting yourself to work, sprinting to work. Work all the way through your day, skip lunch, avoid the opportunity to exercise over lunch, work until the evening. Maybe stay a little bit late at work. Remember, first things first, your health cannot be a top priority. You got to get this work done at work. You want to put in a little extra time on this project to cater favor to the powers that be. So maybe they look to you during the next promotion time. After all, everybody on their deathbed talks about how they wish they worked more and talks about how they wish that their health hadn't been such a high priority to them. Leave exercise for last. Be sure that you get all of your work done, that you have every unnecessary water cooler conversation, that you hang out with your friends, that you do whatever your kids feel like they want to do this evening. Leave exercise for the absolute last so that you have a minimum chance of actually getting any of it done. Prioritize everything else first. We'll talk more about that in a little bit here. That is step number 5, leave exercise for last. Number 6, minimize sleep. One of the interesting things that was a key theme of my work when I was in grad school at Washington University in St. Louis was the impact of sleep on your performance, your motor performance, but then also your cognitive performance. Fascinating data shows that the more underslept you are, the more your judgment, the more your reaction times, the more your physical performance is compromised. So, in order to maximize your body fat gains, stay up late as often as possible. Stay up late watching that TV show. Get home late after the sporting event or the parent-teacher association, the PTA meeting. Stack your evenings with all kinds of activities, some important, some not, so that you can get home late, have dinner late, go to bed super late, and still have to get up at the same early time the next day, so you can get up and get the kids ready, get yourself ready, etc. That way you'll minimize the amount of sleep that you get, feel terrible, and guarantee that you just don't have any time, and that you don't have the psychological willpower in order to do the things to reduce your body fat. Number 6, minimize sleep. Number 7, related to some of the things that I talked about earlier, prioritize everyone and everything else over yourself. If you are on your way to the gym and all of a sudden your girlfriend gives you a call and she's got this problem, she had this stressful day at work and she wants to vent, you should skip the gym just to have that conversation with her in that moment. Be sure that you fill your day with as many of your kids' activities as possible so that there is just no opportunity for you to exercise. Watch that television show. Be sure to scroll through your social media accounts for at least 90 to 120 minutes a day, because that is a fantastic way to fill your time with the unimportant as a way of avoiding the important. Be sure that you give everybody else the first fruits of your time. Whenever somebody shows up saying, hey, would you come over and help me fix this thing in my yard? Be sure to prioritize that first over your own exercise, your meal prep time, so that you guarantee you do not do exercise or healthy eating. Prioritize everybody else's stuff first, their mess first, their whims first. Do all of that first. And last, if there's anything left whatsoever, that is when you can allocate a fraction, some crumbs of your precious time to your own health, your own well-being, your mental wellness, your emotional health. Leave that for last. Prioritize everyone else first. Now, in the spirit of Charlie Munger and inversion thinking, these are the 7 ways you can gain body fat as fast as possible. Eat with no specific plan. Eat whatever. Eat with no specific plan. Eat whenever. Eat with no specific plan. Eat as much as you feel like eating in this meal, at this sitting. Minimize physical activity. Leave your exercise for last in your schedule. Minimize your sleep and prioritize everybody else over yourself. These are your key 7 steps. However, if you want to shred body fat as fast as possible, do the opposite of these things. Eat with a very specific plan for what to eat, when to eat, how much of it to eat. Maximize your physical activity. Build it into your everyday life so it's actually a pillar of activity that you do consistently. Put exercise first. When you're planning out your schedule, put exercise time blocks in there first and build everything else around it. Maximize sleep. Have a clearly defined bedtime and rise time that guarantees you get at least as much sleep as you need to function at your best, and prioritize yourself. If you're a spouse, if you're a parent, if you're a professional, a career person, here's the thing. 1 hour spent proverbially sharpening the saw will make you a much more effective person the other 23 hours of the day, so you can bring your absolute best self to the table and your leanest self with your best body, shredding body fat. If you need some more help learning what this looks like for you in context of your real life, look up CrossFit Edwardsville on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, YouTube. Visit us at CrossFitEdwardsville.com when you're ready to have a conversation with a coach. It's free. We call it the No Sweat Conversation. You can talk to one of us about what you need in your life to make things practical and realistic for you so you can win on your terms. And we look forward to having that conversation with you. For now, we thank you for the gift of your time and your attention, and we will see you guys in the next episode of the podcast.